The mission briefing room at Joint Task Force Alpha buzzed with tactical preparations as Team Razor reviewed infiltration routes on digital displays mounted across reinforced walls. Staff Sergeant Elena Vasquez sat at the periphery, her medical kit positioned beside detailed operational maps she studied meticulously but wouldn't be authorized to use in any tactical capacity. The fluorescent lights cast harsh shadows across weathered faces as seasoned operators discussed breach protocols with the casual confidence of men who'd survived too many similar operations. As the unit's senior medic, her role was clearly defined and rigidly enforced. Remain at the forward operating post, establish casualty collection procedures, treat wounded personnel if the team returned damaged, and maintain absolute distance from direct engagement protocols. The operators move around her with professional courtesy that masked obvious skepticism about her presence in any operational capacity beyond medical support. Captain Morrison traced entry routes with callous fingers, his voice carrying the authority of someone who'd led successful missions across 3 combat deployments. Standard infiltration approach through the North Valley, breach the main compound at 0200 hours, neutralize a high-value target, secure intelligence materials, and exfiltrate before local security forces can respond effectively. His tactical assessment was thorough, but Vasquez noticed immediately that their planned approach ignored elevated positions that could provide overwatch for defensive forces, creating vulnerabilities that experienced enemies would exploit without hesitation. "Vasquez, you'll establish the casualty collection point here." Morrison indicated a position 2 kilometers from the target compound, his finger tapping the laminated map with military precision that brooked no discussion. Standard trauma protocols. Maintain radio contact and be prepared for immediate medical intervention if extraction becomes necessary under fire. The other team members nodded with practiced efficiency, their attention already shifting to ammunition loads, equipment checks, and entry sequences that would determine mission success or failure. None of them noticed how Vasquez's eyes systematically tracked their planned approach, identifying 3 critical tactical vulnerabilities they'd overlooked, or how her hand unconsciously traced alternative infiltration routes that offered superior concealment and multiple egress options that could prove vital if the operation encountered unexpected resistance. Sergeant First Class Rodriguez glanced toward her with barely concealed skepticism that reflected the team's collective attitude toward non-combat personnel in operational environments. "Doc, this isn't a training exercise with predetermined outcomes and safety protocols," he stated with a blunt honesty that characterized special operations culture. "Stay in your designated lane, monitor radio frequencies, and be ready to patch us up if things go sideways." The comment drew murmurs of agreement from the assembled team, soldiers who'd worked with combat medics before, but never with one who'd specifically requested field assignment to direct action missions that traditionally excluded medical personnel from tactical decision-making. Before we continue this incredible story, tell us in the comments where you're watching from. Don't forget to follow our channel and hit that like button if stories like this inspire you. And if you or anyone in your family has served in the military, we'd love to hear about it in the comments below. Your stories matter to us. They saw her medical expertise as valuable but completely irrelevant to the tactical elements they'd handle without her input or participation. Her presence represented a necessary evil, medical support that regulations required, but that experienced operators considered a potential liability during kinetic operations. What they didn't see was the way Vasquez automatically calculated angles of fire, memorized guard rotation patterns visible in surveillance footage, and mentally rehearsed room clearing procedures with the same systematic precision she applied to trauma surgery protocols. Her eyes tracked weapon placements with professional interest that had nothing to do with medical training, and her assessment of the compound's defensive capabilities suggested knowledge that extended far beyond her official specialization. The mission parameters appeared straightforward to everyone except Vasquez, who recognized tactical complexities that the team's planning had failed to address adequately. Their objective involved eliminating a high-value target who'd been coordinating terrorist operations from a fortified compound, extracting critical intelligence materials that could prevent future attacks, and exfiltrating without engaging local security forces who might complicate their withdrawal. Team Razor had executed similar operations successfully across multiple theaters, but never with external oversight questioning their methods or with intelligence that seemed deliberately incomplete. Remember, The medic maintained position at the casualty collection point. Morrison emphasized as the briefing concluded with characteristic military efficiency. No deviations from established protocol, regardless of circumstances that might develop during execution. Vasquez acknowledged the orders with professional composure, gathering her medical supplies while the operators conducted final equipment checks and weapons verification. What none of them realized was that she'd been conducting unauthorized intelligence gathering for weeks, identifying patterns in enemy communications, tactical vulnerabilities in their operational security, and defensive capabilities that would prove critical when their carefully planned mission encountered complications that would test every assumption they'd made about roles, capabilities, and who truly belonged in direct combat operations. At 0130 hours, Team Razor moved to the mountain terrain with practiced silence that spoke of extensive training and combat experience, their advanced night vision equipment cutting through darkness as they approached the target compound via the route they'd rehearsed during mission preparation. The landscape offered natural concealment through rocky outcroppings and vegetation that provided cover from observation, but also created blind spots that could hide defensive positions not identified during intelligence gathering. Vasquez established her casualty collection point in a concealed position overlooking the valley, her medical equipment organized with military efficiency, while she maintained continuous radio contact with the assault team, whose movements she tracked through high-powered optics that weren't standard issue for medical personnel. Through her scope, she observed their movement across open ground with growing concern, as their approach followed exactly the route she'd mentally criticized during the tactical briefing. The compound appeared quiet under thermal imaging, but heat signatures revealed patterns that didn't match the intelligence estimates they'd received from higher headquarters. Additional structures were visible that hadn't appeared in satellite reconnaissance, and defensive positions showed evidence of recent construction that suggested enemy awareness of potential coalition interest in the facility. Her training had taught her to recognize signs of enhanced security measures, and what she observed indicated that their target had taken precautions that could compromise the entire operation. Razor 6, this is Overwatch, she transmitted quietly, watching the team stack up at the compound's main entrance with professional precision that would have been textbook perfect under normal circumstances. I'm observing additional thermal signatures on the south side of the compound, possible security patrol that wasn't included in our intelligence briefings. The response crackled through her earpiece with dismissive efficiency that reflected the team's attitude toward input from non-tactical personnel. Copy, document, maintain your assigned position, and monitor frequencies for casualty reports. We've got the tactical situation handled according to mission parameters. Through her advanced optics, Vasquez watched the team breach the entrance with explosive precision, but her attention remained focused on thermal signatures moving through the compound's outer perimeter in patterns that suggested coordinated defensive preparations. The first indication of serious problems came at 0147 hours when automatic weapon fire erupted from multiple positions around the compound with intensity that indicated pre-positioned defensive measures rather than improvised resistance. Team Razor's radio communications became fragmented bursts of tactical updates mixed with urgent calls for immediate support that their current mission parameters couldn't provide. Taking heavy contact from positions not identified in intelligence packages, compound structure is significantly larger than briefed and enemy strength exceeds estimates. Morrison's voice carried stress that hadn't been present during mission preparation or previous operations. Through her scope, Vasquez tracked muzzle flashes from at least 12 enemy positions that formed intersecting fields of fire around the building where her teammates were trapped with limited options for tactical movement. Razor 6, you've got flanking movement developing from the East Ridge. 4 hostiles with crew-served weapons moving to establish positions that will cut off your primary exfiltration route, she reported. Her voice maintained professional calm while calculating distances, angles, and tactical options that the trap team couldn't observe from their compromised position inside the compound. The response confirmed her worst assessment of the tactical situation they were facing. Doc, we're heavily engaged in taking casualties that require immediate medical intervention. Garcia has serious wounds. Rodriguez has significant shrapnel injuries, and we can't maneuver effectively without exposing ourselves to coordinated crossfire from multiple directions. Through her scope, She watched enemy fighters establishing overlapping fields of fire that would allow them to systematically eliminate her teammates, while remaining protected from return fire by defensive positions that hadn't existed in their intelligence briefings. The tactical situation was deteriorating rapidly as enemy reinforcements arrived from concealed positions throughout the valley, suggesting that their target had anticipated coalition special operations tactics and prepared accordingly. The mission was evolving beyond Team Razor's current capabilities, with enemy strength and defensive preparations exceeding their planning assumptions by significant margins. What should have been a surgical strike was becoming a sustained engagement against superior numbers in prepared positions, exactly the scenario that special operations doctrine sought to avoid through careful intelligence preparation and tactical surprise that had apparently been compromised before their arrival. Vasquez realized that waiting for the situation to develop according to standard protocols would result in casualties that could have been prevented through immediate intervention, using capabilities that her teammates didn't know she possessed. The tactical problem required someone to neutralize threats from positions that Team Razor couldn't engage from their current location, using skills that weren't supposed to exist among medical personnel, but that were about to become critical for mission success and personnel survival. Her medical training remained important, but the situation demanded capabilities that her official role didn't encompass and that her teammates had never seen demonstrated under combat conditions. What happened next contradicted every assumption Team Razor had made about their medics' capabilities, training background, and operational limitations during combat situations. Instead of maintaining her assigned position and waiting for the tactical situation to develop according to standard protocols, Vasquez secured her radio equipment and began moving toward the compound with tactical precision that would have impressed special operations instructors at advanced military schools. Her movement pattern utilized terrain features that provided optimal concealment while offering multiple firing positions, approaching the enemy flanking element from an unexpected angle that their defensive preparations hadn't anticipated. Her medical training had taught her human anatomy with scientific precision, but her hidden background had taught her exactly where to place shots for immediate incapacitation, without unnecessary suffering. The first hostile never detected her approach despite security measures that should have provided early warning of coalition movement in their operational area. Vasquez eliminated him with a single suppressed shot at 300 meters, using advanced rifle techniques that spoke of extensive training far beyond basic combat medical requirements or standard military marksmanship programs. The shot placement demonstrated knowledge of ballistics, environmental factors, and anatomical targeting that required years of specialized instruction typically reserved for elite military units. She adjusted position immediately after the shot, using the confusion among remaining enemy fighters to begin systematically engaging targets that posed the greatest immediate threat to her trapped teammates who were fighting for survival inside the compound. Each subsequent shot demonstrated precision that typically required attendance at advanced sniper schools and extensive field experience under combat conditions. She was dropping enemy fighters who had been preparing to eliminate Team Razor with coordinated fire, using techniques that combined mathematical calculation with intuitive understanding of battlefield dynamics. Her shooting positions changed continuously, never remaining in one location long enough for enemy forces to identify her position and respond with concentrated fire. The suppressed weapon she was using hadn't been part of her official equipment load, raising questions about her preparation and authorization that would demand answers once the immediate tactical situation was resolved. What the hell is happening out there? Morrison's voice carried surprise and confusion as enemy fire around their position began diminishing in ways that their tactical situation couldn't explain. Through her scope, Vasquez had identified the machine gun position that was keeping her team pinned down with sustained fire, but eliminating it would require movement through open terrain under potential observation from multiple enemy positions. She made the tactical decision without requesting permission or informing her teammates of her intentions, crossing 200 meters of exposed ground using movement techniques that would have earned recognition at Ranger School or other elite military training programs. Her approach to the machine gun nest utilized dead space and natural concealment with expertise that suggested military training far beyond her official medical specialization. The route she selected avoided enemy observation while maintaining tactical advantage, demonstrating understanding of small unit tactics that wasn't included in standard medical training curricula. Her movement was deliberate and calculated, each position offering cover while advancing toward an objective that her teammates couldn't engage from their compromised location inside the compound. The enemy machine gun crew had established a position that provided excellent fields of fire against Team Razor's location, but their defensive preparations hadn't considered threats approaching from the direction Vasquez had selected. The machine gun crew discovered her presence when their weapons stopped functioning permanently, along with their ability to continue engaging her teammates with sustained automatic fire. Vasquez had infiltrated their position using techniques that Team Razor would have recognized if they'd been taught advanced reconnaissance methods typically reserved for special operations personnel. The elimination of 3 enemy fighters in close quarters combat left no doubt about her tactical capabilities or training in methods that medical personnel weren't supposed to possess. Her actions demonstrated expertise in areas that raised obvious questions about her background, assignment, and the accuracy of her official personnel records. The suppressing fire that had trapped her teammates ended abruptly, creating an opportunity for a tactical movement that they'd been waiting for since the ambush began. Team Razor could now maneuver within the compound and potentially reach their objective, but their confusion about their medics' capabilities was evident in radio communications filled with questions that would have to wait for answers until the immediate tactical situation was resolved. The impossible had just occurred. Their medical officer had eliminated multiple enemy positions using capabilities that shouldn't exist, transforming their tactical situation through skills that contradicted everything they thought they knew about her training and background. Team Razor exploited the tactical advantage that their medic had created through methods they couldn't understand or explain, but their confusion about her capabilities was evident in radio communications filled with questions and observations that challenged their basic assumptions about military roles and training programs. "Doc, how did you manage to—" "Never mind those details right now. We're advancing to the primary objective," Morrison transmitted, while Vasquez maintained overwatch from positions that offered optimal fields of fire and tactical observation of surrounding area. She had eliminated 7 enemy fighters using methods that spoke of advanced training programs not available to medical personnel, clearing their immediate exfiltration route while they completed their primary mission inside the compound with renewed confidence in their tactical situation. But the enemy's response revealed the true scope of the threat they were facing and the inadequacy of their intelligence preparation for this particular operation. Additional fighters emerged from concealed positions throughout the valley that hadn't been identified during mission planning, establishing a coordinated perimeter that would trap Team Razor inside the compound regardless of their tactical success in securing the target and intelligence materials. Vasquez counted at least 15 additional hostiles armed with weapons that could engage her teammates effectively during their planned withdrawal, including crew-served weapons capable of defeating body armor and destroying vehicles that might be used for emergency extraction. The original mission parameters had catastrophically underestimated enemy strength, defensive preparations, and tactical capabilities, turning what should have been a surgical strike into a prolonged engagement against superior numbers in prepared positions. Her teammates were facing a tactical situation that exceeded their planning assumptions and available resources, requiring intervention that their current mission parameters couldn't provide through normal channels. The compound defensive measure suggested that their target had received advance warning of coalition interest, allowing time for preparations that could defeat standard special operations tactics through overwhelming firepower and strategic positioning. Razor 6. You got reinforcements moving in from 3 separate directions. They're attempting to establish a complete perimeter around a compound that will prevent any withdrawal, she reported while calculating ammunition requirements for what was becoming a sustained firefight against prepared positions. Her medical supplies remained untouched in their original configuration, but her ammunition count was dropping steadily as she engaged targets that her teammates couldn't observe from their interior positions within the compound structure. The tactical situation required someone to maintain external security and eliminate threats while Team Razor completed their intelligence gathering. But that mission profile was supposed to involve treatment of casualties rather than elimination of enemy fighters using advanced combat techniques. The radio crackled with Morrison's tactical assessment that confirmed their deteriorating situation and the limited options available under current circumstances. "Doc, we've secured the intelligence package and confirmed target elimination, but exfiltration is seriously compromised by enemy numbers and positioning. Too many hostiles in Overwatch positions with intersecting fields of fire. We can't move without taking significant casualties that could compromise mission success. Through her scope, Vasquez could observe exactly what he meant with tactical clarity that her teammates couldn't achieve from their confined position. Enemy fighters had established intersecting fields of fire that would allow them to engage Team Razor from multiple angles during any attempt to withdraw from the compound, creating a tactical problem that required neutralizing threats from positions that her teammates couldn't reach using conventional assault methods. The situation demanded capabilities that extended far beyond her official medical role, but the alternative was watching her teammates die in a compound that was becoming their tomb. Her training in trauma medicine remained important, but the current tactical situation required skills that weren't supposed to exist in her personnel file. What Team Razor was about to witness would fundamentally challenge their understanding of military roles, training programs, and the capabilities that could be hidden within seemingly routine personnel assignments. The tactical problem required neutralizing multiple enemy positions using techniques that would reveal the truth about her background and raise questions about intelligence community recruitment practices that weren't covered in standard operational briefings. The enemy had made a critical mistake by assuming that one coalition medic couldn't significantly impact their tactical advantage, but they were about to discover that assumptions about capabilities could prove fatal when confronting personnel whose training extended far beyond their official specialization. Vasquez was preparing to demonstrate why certain military records remained classified and why some assignments involved personnel whose capabilities exceeded their apparent roles in ways that could transform tactical situations through individual action that seemed impossible until witnessed directly under combat conditions. What Team Razor witnessed next would fundamentally change their understanding of their medical officer and raise serious questions about intelligence community recruitment practices, personnel assignment protocols, and the accuracy of official military records that weren't covered in standard operational briefings or training programs. Vasquez began systematically eliminating the enemy Overwatch positions using advanced marksmanship techniques, combined with tactical movement, that spoke of specialized training far beyond anything available to medical personnel through normal military career progression. Her shots were connecting at distances that challenged the capabilities of standard-issue equipment, dropping targets that experienced special operations personnel would consider difficult under optimal conditions with premium equipment and extensive preparation time. Jesus Christ, Doc, where the hell did you learn to shoot like that? Rodriguez transmitted as another enemy position went silent under a precise fire, the question hanging the tactical frequency, while she continued engaging targets with mechanical efficiency. Her movement between firing positions demonstrated small unit tactics that typically required attendance at elite military schools with extensive field training components and rigorous selection processes. She was clearing their exfiltration route methodically, using techniques that raised obvious questions about her background, training, and the authenticity of her official personnel records that have been used for mission planning and security clearance verification. The tactical situation continued deteriorating as enemy reinforcements arrived with heavy weapons, specifically designed to prevent Coalition Special Operations Forces from escaping after successful raids. Team Razor found themselves facing a coordinated response that suggested their target had not only anticipated Coalition tactics, but had prepared countermeasures using equipment and personnel that exceeded intelligence estimates by significant margins. The enemy possessed crew-served weapons capable of engaging military aircraft if extraction became necessary, along with communications equipment that could coordinate responses across the operational area in ways that would complicate any attempt at withdrawal through conventional methods. Morrison's voice carried growing realization and professional respect as he observed the systematic elimination of threats around their position through capabilities that shouldn't exist among medical personnel. Doc, I don't know what your real story is, but right now that doesn't matter as much as mission success. He transmitted with a pragmatic acceptance that characterized special operations leadership under extreme circumstances. Can you clear us a viable path to the primary exfiltration point, or do we need to consider alternative extraction methods? The question acknowledged both her demonstrated capabilities and the tactical reality that their original plan had been compromised by intelligence failures and enemy preparations that exceeded their planning assumptions. The answer came through actions rather than words, as Vasquez began moving toward the remaining enemy positions with tactical precision that would have impressed special operations instructors at advanced military schools. Her medical training was completely irrelevant to what she was accomplishing under fire, but her hidden background was becoming impossible to conceal under current combat conditions. Each enemy position she eliminated demonstrated expertise that required years of specialized training, extensive field experience, and access to advanced weapon systems that weren't part of standard medical equipment loads or authorized for personnel in her official role. Her movement patterns avoided enemy observation while maintaining tactical advantage, utilizing terrain features and natural concealment in ways that suggest extensive training in advanced reconnaissance methods. The enemy fighters she was engaging had established offensive positions that should have provided mutual support and overlapping field of fire, but her approach negated their advantages through superior positioning and individual marksmanship that exceeded their tactical preparations. She was operating as a one-person special operations unit, clearing multiple enemy positions using techniques that combined stealth, precision shooting, and tactical movement in ways that were transforming an impossible situation into a manageable tactical problem. The radio communications from Team Razor reflected their growing understanding that their medic possessed capabilities that extended far beyond her official specialization. But questions about her background would have to wait until they were safely extracted from their current situation. Her actions were providing them with tactical options that hadn't existed minutes earlier, clearing their exfiltration route through individual competence that seemed impossible until witnessed directly under combat conditions. The enemy's numerical advantage was being systematically eliminated by someone whose official role involved trauma treatment rather than target engagement, using methods that suggested access to training programs that weren't supposed to exist for medical personnel. What they were witnessing challenged every assumption they'd made about military roles, personnel capabilities, and the relationship between official specialization and actual training background. Their medic was demonstrating that expertise could exist in combinations that traditional military structure didn't recognize, and that some personnel assignments involved individuals whose capabilities exceeded their apparent roles in ways that could prove decisive when conventional tactics encountered unexpected challenges requiring exceptional individual performance under extreme circumstances. The mission concluded at 3:47 a.m. with Team Razor successfully exfiltrating through a corridor that their medic had cleared using capabilities that weren't documented in any personnel file accessible to operational commanders during mission planning phases. Enemy casualties numbered 14 confirmed eliminations, all achieved by someone whose official role involved trauma treatment rather than target engagement, using methods that suggested access to training programs typically reserved for elite special operations personnel, with extensive selection processes and classified operational backgrounds. The intelligence package they recovered contained valuable information that could prevent future terrorist attacks, but the questions about Staff Sergeant Vasquez's background and training were equally important to mission commanders who thought they understood their personnel assignments and capability assessments. The extraction helicopter crew had monitored radio communications during the operation and witnessed tactical results that challenged their understanding of medical personnel capabilities under combat conditions. That medic of yours just cleared an entire valley of hostiles using individual marksmanship and tactical movement. The pilot reported to base operations during their return flight. Whatever her background includes, it's significantly more extensive than her medical specialization would suggest. The observation reflected growing awareness throughout the task force that personnel assignments might not accurately reflect individual capabilities, and that some military records contained information that wasn't available to operational commanders during routine mission planning processes. During the comprehensive debriefing at Joint Task Force Alpha, Captain Morrison addressed the operational success, while acknowledging the tactical reality they'd all witnessed and the questions it raised about personnel management and training documentation. Staff Sergeant Vasquez eliminated multiple enemy threats using advanced marksmanship and small unit tactics that aren't part of standard medical training curricula, he reported to Colonel Barnes, the task force commander who'd been briefed about unusual circumstances surrounding the mission and the unexplained tactical capabilities demonstrated by medical personnel. Her actions were decisive in mission success and personnel survival, but her capabilities suggest background elements and training programs not reflected in her official documentation or available to commanders during mission planning. The colonel's response revealed classified information that explained everything Team Razor had witnessed during the operation and raised additional questions about intelligence community recruitment practices and personnel assignment protocols. Staff Sergeant Vasquez completed United States Army Ranger School with distinguished honors, Special Forces Qualification Course with exceptional ratings, advanced sniper training at multiple military schools, and specialized reconnaissance programs before cross-training into medical specialization through classified personnel development programs. Barnes explained while reviewing personnel files that contained information not available to operational commanders. Her medical role was specifically requested for this assignment, but her tactical background remained available for situations exactly like what you encountered tonight. The revelation transformed Team Razor's understanding of their medic and raised questions about how many other personnel might possess capabilities that exceeded their official roles and specializations. Rodriguez approached her with professional respect that represented a fundamental shift from his previous attitude toward medical personnel in operational environments. "Doc, I owe you a serious apology, and I think we all do," he stated with the direct honesty that characterized special operations culture when confronted with undeniable evidence of exceptional performance. "Your medical skills are obviously exceptional, but your tactical capabilities saved our lives tonight and demonstrated expertise that we should have recognized and utilized from the beginning." The acknowledgement represented more than individual apology. It reflected a fundamental transformation in how the team viewed military roles, personnel capabilities, and the assumptions they'd made about who belonged in direct combat situations based on official specializations rather than actual training backgrounds. Vasquez accepted their recognition with professional grace, while acknowledging that her dual capabilities created unique opportunities for mission success when conventional approaches encountered unexpected challenges. Medical training and tactical expertise aren't mutually exclusive, she explained during an extended debriefing session. Saving lives sometimes requires eliminating threats, and both capabilities benefit from similar attention to detail, precision under pressure, and commitment to mission success. The final assessment came from Colonel Barnes during his comprehensive mission review with higher headquarters, regional command, and intelligence community representatives who were interested in the operational implications of personnel with dual specializations. Staff Sergeant Vasquez demonstrated conclusively that medical personnel with appropriate tactical training can provide capabilities that extend far beyond traditional role limitations, he reported, recommending policy changes that would affect future personnel assignments, training programs, and operational planning processes. Her performance suggests that combining medical expertise with advanced tactical training creates personnel who can adapt to changing mission requirements in ways that enhance operational flexibility and mission success rates. The mission had proven that expertise could exist in unexpected combinations that traditional military structure didn't recognize or utilize effectively, and that assumptions about roles and capabilities could limit operational effectiveness when situations demanded broader skill sets than conventional assignments provided. Team Razor's experience demonstrated that personnel with diverse training backgrounds could provide tactical advantages that weren't available through traditional specialization approaches, but only when commanders understood and utilized their full capabilities rather than limiting them to single-role assignments. Team Razor never questioned Vasquez's presence on tactical operations again, and began requesting her participation in mission planning phases, where her unique combination of medical and tactical expertise could contribute to operational success from initial concept through execution and recovery phases. They'd learned that expertise came in combinations that challenged traditional military categories, and that the person who could save their lives might do so with medical intervention or tactical elimination of threats, depending on what the mission required and what circumstances demanded. The medic they'd initially dismissed had eliminated every threat before they could react, transforming their understanding of capability, training, and what it meant to serve alongside personnel whose skills exceeded expectations in ways that traditional role definitions and military structure couldn't adequately capture or utilize without fundamental changes in approach to personnel management and operational planning.